There's a lot to talk about this morning, but definitely, you know, if you check what's going on around the country, one would want to ask serious questions about what the permutations are looking like and what the combinations are also looking like at this time politically. And you check the ADC, you check Labour Party, you check the APC, and even the PDP. A lot is happening. Sands are shifting, and people are beginning to look. It's beginning to take shape. Actually, this is 2026, and we are just a few months away from the general election in 2027. Well, it's still over a year, but then people will say it's months now, because judging by what people have been saying last year, nobody was really mentioning 2026, right? Like, it was never going to come. We are just going to jump straight to 2027. But now it is crystal clear that there is a 2026 somewhere, and political permutations are beginning to shape up. What exactly is going on in the camp of Labour Party? Peter Obi woke up and said, look, I'm moving to the ADC. Let me slug it out with these people and see if I can get the presidential ticket of the party. People are asking questions about certainty and uncertainty. At Labour Party, nobody really fought in for the ticket at Labour Party in the last election. They got the ticket. Datti Baba-Ahmed was his vice presidential candidate, and they contested. They got so close to winning the election, according to the results released by INEC. And you know, he woke up and said, look, I'm leaving Labour Party, where I'm maybe close to being sure that I'm going to get the ticket. I'm moving to ADC, where we have a lot of big names there who are also vying to get the ticket. We'll talk about Atiku Abubakar, talk about Rotimi Amechi, and so many other people who are also nursing the ambition of becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So now Datti Baba-Ahmed has said, look, yes, you have left. My own ambition is still there. Well, maybe he thought at a point he also wanted to be president, but because he felt at that time that he doesn't have the popularity or maybe the financial capability or the muscle to get it done, let me be a vice presidential candidate to someone, and maybe in the future I can try to do it myself. And then the opportunity has presented itself. Labour Party really has maybe a few names that can actually fight him for the ticket. I think he feels like he's really bullish about his chances of getting the ticket at Labour Party now. He says, look, let me realize my own ambition too.
Okay, I think you're very spot on. And then listening to him yesterday, I'm not so surprised to say that he wants to contest. And then he also mentioned the fact that in 2019, he contested under PDP, and that was when Peter Obi was vice to Atiku. And then he even said that, you know, he can remember vividly that he mentioned to Obi that, can I get your vote? And then Obi smiled. So according to me, he's always, you know, wanted to contest, but then he lost the primaries, of course, I mean, to Atiku. So, and then some of the things that he said yesterday, I want us to talk about it too, because he said if he should, you know, contest and then, of course, win the election, he's going to increase the salaries of, you know, civil servants, you know, by 400%, not just 100%. That means they'll be collecting 4 times what they are collecting now. And Nigerians are asking, do you have the capacity to do that? Will that not affect inflation the more? And then he also said certain things to say, okay, I'm nobody's, no one is my boss, and I'm not stepping into the shoes of anyone. I'm not following anyone's trajectory. So a lot of Obidient are saying, really, what is he trying to say? Are these not subtle jabs? I mean, I don't want to, you know who we might be talking about. So he's just trying to say, I'm no one's mentee. I've always had the intention to contest as president, and that's what I want to do now. So do not see this as that. So I think he might get a fraction of the supporters would be. Why do I say that? Because a lot of, some Obidient are not satisfied. They're angry
with his move with
his move to the ADC. So maybe it can get a fraction of, you know, those supporters, but never say never, because a lot of them are still not ready to decide who they want to support. So good luck to Datti Baba-Ahmed, you know, because he says they want to contest for the next election. But then I don't know how it's going to play out. Just like you mentioned, the permutations, you know, the politics eating up, and then a lot of persons, even people from opposition party, they are saying that the APC is looking like it cannot fail at this point because of, you know, how large the party is. But I beg to differ. I mean, because the PDP was in this state before, just like we always mention. So, and there's one thing about the APC that, you know, I also want us to talk about. See, when a party is large like APC, if they are not careful, that largeness might cause some issues. Let's take Rivers State, for instance. You know, when Fubara joined the APC and became the party leader, what happens to the party leader before Fubara joined the APC?
Automatically they become followers.
Honestly, it's a problem.
That's the party constitution.
It's a problem. So, and then this will happen to some other state too. I mean, a lot of governors defected from the PDP, even from other political parties to the APC.
They automatically assume responsibility.
They assume responsibility for what happens to those people who are leaders before they actually join the party. So the APC too, they have to watch their back, because I mean the party is large, but they have to be very careful and of course very strategic.
Well, let me just quickly up on what you just said. I would liken politics, the game of politics, to broadcasting too. There are three things involved. Some people are loyal to the game. Maybe the show when it comes to journalism. Some people are loyal to the station, some people are loyal to the host. So when you move, some people will go with you because they want you. They want to listen to you. They want to watch you do your thing. Some people will stay because the show is still there. And some people will stay because whether the show is still there or is not there, they want the station. So it's just like that with politics too. There are some members of the Obidient that would feel like, oh, we attach this movement to the Labour Party. So we are staying with the Labour Party. And Datti Baba-Ahmed is definitely going to get those people. Some people, they are Peter Obi. And definitely, while Obi left the party, they are moving with Peter Obi to the party. So, and some people are just lovers of politics. The moment they cannot have the party, they cannot have their candidate, they move to where next they feel like, oh, we have someone who shares the same ideology with us. So some people will be floating like that and be looking at, oh, where next can we go? So there's a huge chance that the Obidient assistance has been fractured one way or the other. There's a fragmentation, and there might likely be disintegration, where there will be no united front for the Obidient movement. Just recently, I think a few months ago, the coordinator for the Obidient movement in the last election resigned. One way or the other, there must have been a reason. And some of the reasons he claimed was, oh, he was even spending his personal money to fund the whole movement. So it's a big challenge. Can they survive this, that at this time? They built something together which some people will feel like, oh, why don't you continue with the same momentum and see what you can get in the year 2027? But unfortunately, people have ambitions. They have reasons for moving from one political party to the other. And if Peter Obi feels like, oh, this time around, I think what I want lies with the ADC, he has moved, and there's no question about that. Even though if he doesn't get the ticket, the question is, will he leave again? Don't forget, politicians make promises. Oh, I'm never going to leave this political party. Oh, I'm sticking with this political party. And all of a sudden, before the day breaks, we heard news about, oh, I'm moving. Peter Obi, for example, during the APGA days, he said he was never going to leave APGA and made promises to the late Chukwemeka Odumegwu and said, look, I'm not leaving this political party. And the moment he died, after his 8 years as governor, he packed his loads, moved to the PDP, and in the PDP he said he was never going to leave. He left PDP, moved to Labour Party, and recently, just a few weeks ago, someone was asking him question in Abuja, and he said, look, there's no such thing, I'm not leaving the Labour Party, and now he's in the ADC. So who knows that before 2027 general elections, if he doesn't get the presidential ticket, he might likely move to another party. He's been saying, look, I'm not going to be a vice presidential candidate to anybody. But Atiku Abubakar is one person that the moment he wants a ticket, is ready to bully everybody and get that ticket. Whichever way he follows, nobody really knows. It could be due to his financial muscle, it could be due to his political influence or his networks across the country, because one of the most rooted politicians in Nigeria with grassroots mobilization is Atiku Abubakar. I mean, he's got people everywhere across the country, and he knows exactly what to do to get that ticket. So how is Peter Obi going to get that ticket from Atiku Abubakar is a big question. But Datti Baba-Ahmed, I think it should be a little bit relaxed about the whole proceeding, because if you check Labour Party now, I can say that that's the only big name that can actually say, oh, I want to, unless someone moves to that party before 2027. But as of now, I think he's still the biggest name when it comes to who wants to be president in that party.
And of course, I think you're very spot on. Who would want to move from, say, PDP now to Labour Party to can't contest for president? You have to weigh your options. And I also think, like, just like you mentioned, Obi said, I'm not going to be vice to anyone. Atiku is saying, I'm not going to be vice to anyone. And then if you look at it, how many politicians in Nigeria can beat Atiku when it comes to primaries? Whether you like it or not, he's more of a businessman than a politician.
He's a political merchant. He knows what to do.
Exactly. So how many politicians can beat him? Forget about the likes of Amechi. But then Obi, just like he used to say, we know they give shishi. I think he's changing that now, because he knows that when it comes to Nigerian politics, you have to give more than shishi. Forget shishi. So another thing is the fact that the supporters of Peter Obi, let's take Aisha Yusufu for instance, she said, and I think I watched the video myself, that if Peter Obi should decide to be running mate to anyone, I'm going to walk against him. That was what she said.
And she said she was going to call him out.
Exactly. And then another person is part to Tommy, that popular economist. He also said that if Obi decides to be vice to anyone, is also going is not going to support him. So it's a problem now. So good luck to Peter Obi. I think there are other political parties that might want to defect to, but it depends on him. So it's not really certain, and I don't know whether ADC is trying to play a game of surprise. I mean, with Nigerians, we may also see a measure. I mean, before the general election, some parties might decide to just come together just to tackle these
their structure
exactly
to
this
APC,
because a lot of them are saying this party is too likely to take a lot. I mean, to actually defeat the party, just like what APC did that time. ACN and there's some other political parties, they came together, and of course they were able to kick out PDP at a time. Honestly,
I have this resentment towards how the ADC is building the opposition in the country. I think they are swelling. It's not like the party is growing. They are swelling in numbers. Yes, there are big names in the party, but are they really growing? Are they doing it the way it should be done? Is that actual opposition the way it should be? I think that's a very big no. The only thing I see in that party is the fact that we don't want this person. So let's come together, let's kick him out of the office. So if you kick him out of office, what will happen to your political party? Will you be able to manage your success? And I think there's too many ego, there's too many chiefs. We've got too many chiefs in that boat, and it might just capsize. And you look at Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, all of them at one point or the other have vented their anger towards the presidency, saying, look, you don't know how to do this, this is not the best way to do that, oh, you are doing this, you are bullying other political parties, you are maybe, how do you call this particular idea of preying on their governors, bringing them to your political party. Some even they call it coercion, that they are being coerced into coming into the party. So there are a lot of questions about, is the APC ready for the ADC as an opposition? It's a big question. But I think the APC is managing that effectively as it stands. But for the ADC, before the election, will we see a disintegration? It's a big question. Before the election, are we going to see more people moving to the ADC? It's another big question. And even if the ADC wins the election come 2027, will they be able to manage their success? PDP ruled for 16 years. But then one of the reasons, I was speaking with Chief Ayo Afolabi yesterday, who is the publicity secretary of the APC in southwestern part of Nigeria, and was saying, look, one of the problems PDP had was the fact that the moment they won, they felt there's never going to be any party like PDP again, so they were going to rule for 50 years. And they mentioned that too. If you remember, they said, oh, the PDP will rule for at least 50 years. But 16 years later, the party crashed, and they're still crashing, they're still disintegrating. So if we are going to follow the trend, will there be another political party that can do the same as PDP did for 16 years? Will there be a party that will rule for another 16 years or maybe longer? That's a very big question.
Honestly, I think Dele Momodu granted an interview recently, and he said that if ADC is not careful, they might repeat what happened within the PDP when Wike said, oh, you guys are not going to zone to the south. You have to zone to the south. If you don't zone to the south, then we are going to
really kept quiet about their zoning system.
Exactly, and that's the problem. That's why I said I don't know whether they want to take Nigerians by surprise. Maybe we should expect any surprise, anytime soon. So if they are not careful, what happened within the PDP that actually, led to this point might actually happen again in ADC. Why? Because of zoning system. Because at that time, Wike was saying, okay, Ayu must leave. If you don't want to zone to the south, then Ayu should leave. Another person from the south should take over as the national chairman. And so now that we have a lot of persons that can actually contest under the ADC, if care is not taken, they might repeat the same mistake. Because look at the ADC, a lot of PDP members in that ADC. Obi just joined too.
That's you can say that's an extension of the PDP. Honestly, because the moment you are leaving PDP, you are going to the ADC. That's what we're saying. Honestly,
so if they are not careful, if they cannot let go of ego is the one thing, or let me say the most popular thing that destroys PDP. Ego of some persons in that political
party. Too many captains in the ship.
So if they cannot let go, if some persons cannot let go of ego, they will see. I don't want to say it. Let's just hope that they will work on it, and of course, get it right. I mean, this time around,
that's the prayer of every Nigerian: get it right, play actual opposition, and put the government on their toes, and really give them a run for their money, and then they can actually give the dividends of democracy to the Nigerian people. That takes us to what I report this morning, and that's a fine place to leave at that particular topic.